I decided to get out before club racing to put a bit of tacking practice in, especially because I was curious to see how wire-to-wire tacks would work in a single-hander like the 600, which is very wobbly. I don't have a cleat, and I have a tiller in my hand. So let's see how this can go. This is just a little warm-up before I get into it and do lots of them back-to-back, but I'm getting better at standing on the gunnel and hooking on before, whereas before I might kneel down on the gunnel. It makes it a little bit easier to jump out on the rack, but in these marginal conditions, you're not really doing that. Now, it was difficult because we're down by the dam end here with a northeast direction, so those big trees you can see on the right-hand side were causing a lot of shifts. This is because the Ovi Inlands was happening, so there was two bigger courses happening in the wider bit of the lake, but even they reported this northeasterly direction was pretty shifty for them too. It was a lot less windy on the Sunday, so it was difficult to get the boat going like I have here. As you can see, I'm just trying to get it going nicely, like I would upwind, before I try to do a tack, because the difficult bit is going from rack to rack. Tacking on inside the boat's relatively straightforward. So let's see how I can do a little bit more kicker now there's a bit more pressure, and see if I can sort of figure out this wire-to-wire tacking nonsense, and if it's even worth it. So my entry's pretty good, 2 steps in, 2 steps across, and then I grab myself 1 foot on the rack and then I hook myself on, but I'm steering a lot with the rudder there, which kind of stalls the boat and also sort of bears me away quite a lot. So I'm steering a lot through the tack, and that rudder's definitely slowing me down, whereas the whole point of this is to come out the tack with more speed. Let's see if I can do it again here. Again, less rudder there. I've hooked on quite nicely. That was a much better tack, but I still maybe bared away a little bit more than I needed to. It's quite key seeing how much that rudder's twisting to gauge if it's actually working. Let's see if I can do it backwards. So as I tried to hook on, I'm just bearing away loads, but I do get 1 foot out on the rack, which is good. I'm not sure I've quite got the confidence to get both out on the rack when trying to hook on, but at least that's once, as soon as I can get hooked on, then I can just stretch out that leg and get the other one up, and I'm away and I'm going. So definitely a bizarre technique, and I'm still not convinced it's necessarily worth it with the fully batten main, but you've got to try these things right to find out. I've gone down to the bottom again now, so let's see if I can get it working this time. So we'll get ourselves going. There's definitely a better wind at the bottom. It's a little less shifty once you get further away from those trees, so I can get going and pop in a few more tacks. So let's see how this one goes. Good entry, maybe a little bit further back than I'd like, and then I've sort of wobbled a little bit there, sort of ran out of pressure, didn't really need me to hook on and stand out. The difficult thing is I normally let a bit of main out as I come across the boat, just to stop it from powering up too quickly before I'm across the boat. But the difficult thing is now I need to sort of stop doing that so that when I come out the other side, the boat's ready for me to power up. I guess that's why I'm bearing away, because the sail's set for a close reach rather than a beat. So I'm sort of getting the boat onto a close reach position so I can stand out, but it's just sailing extra distance and steering unnecessarily. So it's definitely interesting to watch this back after what I sort of was interpreting in real time on the water, if that makes sense. Still trying to find a bit of a groove here so I can get on the rack. I don't really want to do a tack sat on the rack. It's not really... There's nothing fast about doing a tack. I mean, one, you're not moving very far, and two, the boat's just not moving very quickly anyway, so there's not much boat speed to like lose and regain. So let's see. I'm sort of... Here we go, a bit more speed. Trying to hook on. Standing on the gunnel, not bad, but I did let a bit of that leeward rack go in the water. Here's a nice bit of pressure, not quite enough. It's difficult in these marginal conditions, and these are the ones where some of these quick tacks can make the difference, because you can really stuff these up, and getting back on the speed when there's such little wind is so important, whereas in the breezy stuff, it doesn't really matter because you're going to get powered up really quickly. So let's see how this tack goes. Looks like a good entry. Again, my entry's been pretty good in all conditions. It's just this exit that I'm not super convinced on. Less rudder, but still not fantastic, to be honest. I think that was much better than the previous tacks, to be honest. So we're seeing an improvement in the right direction. Now let's see if I can do another tack back and work on that exit technique. So good bit of pressure there. Going nicely. Let's think about it now. Maybe not. Get the main sheet in, unhook, step in, step across. My feet choreography is pretty good. Not too much rudder there. It helps that there's a bit more pressure now. Maybe I was doing these in the wrong conditions. Maybe that's the Maybe that's the trick here. Okay, let's see if I can get the boat going and then tack back. Oh, it's just so shifty. And I'm so focused on just doing the tacks rather than actually sailing the boat. I'm just focused on just thinking about what I can do differently, what I can do to improve. Let's try again. Okay, wait for the boat to want to go for the tack before crossing. I crossed a bit early there. I came to a stop by crossing too early. Let's see if I can hook on. Okay. Not bad. But yeah, very, very marginal. It's good that I didn't try and go on the rack. There was no need. Otherwise I would have just stalled the boat and just sort of slid sideways to leeward. Okay. See if I can get on the rack with this nice bit of pressure coming up. There we go. Let's see if I can do another tack in this. See if we can work on that. Okay, here we go. A little bit of delay there with the entry. I sort of moved backwards and then thought about it. Okay, not too much rudder. That was much better. Not too much rudder. Got myself back out on the rack and got myself up to speed. That was pretty good, but the breeze being a bit higher definitely made that a little bit easier. So I guess the takeaway here is this wire-to-wire technique has a time and place, and these marginal conditions potentially not the one, because it's a 50-50 hit rate of whether getting out on the trapeze is worth it or not. So yeah, there's another example of the shift as well, where I just got hit by a shift. But I did get going. Okay. Good to know. Let's see if we can do another couple of tacks. So get the main sheet in so I don't get it caught on the back of the rack. To the back, much better entry there than the last couple of tacks. That was a really good tack there. I like that one. I got my weight out pretty quickly, kept the boat pretty flat. The key thing is not getting those racks in the water, because as soon as they dig in, they're super slow. But they're not very far from the water line, so it's quite hard. Only a little bit of heel when they're in the water. Okay, let's see if I can do another tack back. One last one for good measure. I did drop the tiller a little bit there. I mean, for someone who dropped the tiller, not bad. Not bad.